The UN Secretary-General has made a plea for $4.6 billion from donors by July to help Africa and Yemen come up with drought and a possible famine. CGTN's Girum Chala sat down with the UN General Assembly President Peter Thomson and asked him how confident he was that the international community would come up with the money required.
Difficult for me to predict. There are so many demands on humanitarian funds around the world, if you think of the situation in Syria and so many others. But look, I think we're now engaged on this, the realization that this is something where humanitarian funds have to be diverted towards this. But for the short term, in answer to your question, yeah, the appeal is out there and the UN is pushing hard for donors to come to the assistance.
What are the key obstacles of raising that funding? Donor fatigue is one such key obstacle here.
Donor fatigue is a reality, and what we do have to think about is new ways of raising funds. Traditional funds can serve as a basis which are then leveraged on. You know, there's private sector, there is philanthropies where, you know, most of the world's wealth lies in the private sector. We have to tap into the private sector and the philanthropic world more effectively and partner both through traditional funding and agencies and national governments, better partnerships.
What about the behavior of some of the governments of the countries that need the money? Is that a deterrent? For example, thinking here of South Sudan, Mr. President, WHO already says it will stop trying to mobilize international donors unless Juba spends more on health, less on defense.
Look, I think the important thing is that, you know, the lady with the starving baby on the side of the river, she has to be our focus. It's not so much, you know, what's happening at the national level. Obviously, national levels are the important thing in terms of driving development and securing peace and so on. But as far as the international community is, we have to keep our focus on that lady and that child because that's what Universal Declaration of Human Rights is all about. So when we're raising funds, when we're organizing ourselves, we have to be thinking about that lady by that riverbank, not be diverted by thoughts of you know, institutional jealousies.